identify the different coats of the eye. Okay? So there are three coats of the eye. The structured pointer, that's the cornea. Okay? So that's the outer fibrous coat, no? The cornea, and it consists of 5 layers, theoretically. Okay? So here you can identify the endothelium of the cornea at pointer. Then this whole thick structure is the substantia propria, and of course the outer layer is the epithelium. Okay? So the corneal epithelium and the substantia propria, theoretically there's a membrane here, no? The Bowman's membrane. And of course, beneath the endothelium and the thick substantia propria is the Descemet's membrane, no? So those are the membranes that separates the structures. Then if you try to continue to the inner coat or fibrous coat, the cornea, that is continuous with the sclera. Okay, so that's the area of the sclera. That's the outer fibrous coat. Okay. Now the uveal tract will consist of the structure here. This is the iris. Okay, the whole structure is the iris. That will consist of the dilator and the constrictor muscles. The space here, class, that's the pupil. And of course, the space between the cornea and the iris is the anterior chamber. Okay, so that's the anterior chamber. Then of course, between the iris and the lens should be here, no? This one is the posterior chamber. Okay? Then you go upwards. Okay? This will be the ciliary processes. Okay? That is the ciliary processes, no? That secretes the aqueous humor. Okay? So the fluid here will go to the posterior chamber. Okay? Then goes to the pupil, to the anterior chamber. Okay? In the junction here between the iris and the cornea, and the fluid goes up there to the Slem's canal, okay, and to the circulation, okay. Now the area at the posterior aspect is the vitreous humor, or vitreous body here. You have here 3 layers. Now the sclera, that's the one at the pointer. Then you have the choroid, and of course the retina. Okay, this is the retina. Okay, so you have the sclera there, the choroid, and the retina. Okay, so the choroid, that is of course vascular, and you identify you focus this on high power. So you identify the 10 layers of the retina. Okay? Ayan, sinulat ko na dyan. So that will be your guide. Okay? So you focus that on HPO. So that's the sclera. That's the area of the choroid. Then of course, if you start with the outer layer, the dark layer, that's the pigment epithelium. And of course, beneath the pigment is the bacillary layer. That's the area of the rods and cones. Then you have it's not prominent here now. It should be the outer limiting. So what is prominent here is the outer nuclear layer. This one at the pointer. Then you see this one. This is the outer plexiform and the inner nuclear layer. Okay? So the outer nuclear, outer plexiform, and that's the outer nuclear. This one is the inner plexiform layer, and these are the ganglion cells. Okay, so that will be the layer of the ganglion cells. And of course, below that, would be the optic nerve fiber layer, and of course going to the inner limiting membrane, then to becomes the optic nerve. Okay, so you identify those 10 layers of the retina, again the choroid and the sclera. Then again you go to the ciliary process, class, ito. Then it's the iris, okay, and that's the cornea, okay. So you identify those structures. This would be the histology. Now in the embryology, you only have one slide, no? So you still remember the developing eye, that's the level of the diencephalon. Okay, so the space is the third ventricle. No? Ito yung dien. So you see the developing optic cup. Okay, the optic cup consists of an optic stalk that becomes the optic nerve. Then the inner lining is the pigment layer. And of course the inner lining is the retina, and there is a space, intraretinal space. And of course you have here the lens vesicle, that becomes the lens. Okay, so ito class yung i-identify nyo, yung mga structures dito sa developing eye. Of course, the layers of the retina, the layers of the cornea, the iris, the ciliary process, choroid, retina. So, yun ang identify nyo. We have a demo slides there for you to look. Then, after looking the slides, seeing the slides, you can review. Kasi ito class, ang last meeting niya, para next week, exam natin. So, mag-review kayo ngayon kung ano yung matapos nyo. May brain specimens dyan. Mamayang hapon, review ulit tayo. So lahat ng coverage ng prelim na gusto nyo makita, yung slides, brain specimens, review. Kasi next week, yun ang ating